Ford Motor making it official today. Mark Fields, the automaker's chief operating officer, will replace Alan Mulally as CEO effective July 1st. Joining us from the company's headquarters in Dearborn, Michigan, is Ford's executive chairman, Bill Ford. Bill, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Ruben.
Bill, of course, the big question is why now, 6 months before Alan was scheduled to leave?
Well, Alan and I have been talking about this for quite some time. We made Mark COO quite a while ago, and that really started this whole transition. And Alan and I kind of came to the conclusion pretty recently that Mark was ready to go and the team was ready to go. And I think one of the great things about Alan is you don't often see wonderful CEOs like Alan willingly say it's time to go. Most of them hang on too long, and most, therefore, have a very difficult succession. But Alan and I talked really from the day he and I first got together 8 years ago about my desire for a great transition for Ford Motor Company. And frankly, that's what we're doing today.
Now, Bill, when I talked to Mark back in January in Detroit, I asked him, will you stick around for another year to wait and see how things shake out? He said that he loves Ford. Is there any fear that we might see some other executives potentially leave because of Mark's promotion?
Well, Ruben, I suppose there's always that fear. We have a really talented group, and anytime you've got a lot of talent, at any time somebody's going to want them. But I'll say this, the vast majority of them feel the way that Mark described it to you. They love working here, they think our industry is really interesting, and they love being part of the culture that we've developed at Ford, one of transparency and openness and everybody helping out. So could we lose somebody? Yeah, I suppose we that's always a risk. But I feel really good about the team we've got and also the depth we have underneath them.
As you were considering who was going to replace Alan, did you look outside of the company at all?
Yeah, I sure did. I took a look around the world at really who the best talent around the world is, not just in the auto industry, but in all industries. Because as you know, I brought Alan in from the aircraft industry. But it became quickly clear, the more we looked, the more that Mark just kept rising to the top. Mark has done a tremendous job at Ford. He turned, North America, he was in that job before Alan got here, and it was a tough job, and he did a wonderful job. He hung with it. A lot of people thought he wouldn't stay with it. They thought he'd leave for greener pastures, but he kept picking himself up and dusting himself off every time he was hit by a blow, and in the process became, I believe, a terrific leader and one who was very well respected by the men and women of Ford Motor Company. So, yeah, I looked outside, but I was so happy that the best candidate was internal because that gives us the opportunity to really continue with this culture that we've built at Ford.
Now, Alan is also going to be leaving the board on July 1st. Was that his decision? Did you ask him to stay on? Did he want to leave the company completely?
Well, actually, he and I talked about it a lot. I think, we both felt that good governance really dictates that, that CEOs don't hang around. And he and I both really reached that same conclusion, so it really wasn't much of a discussion.
Now, you mentioned Mark was able to turn around North America. Right now, he's coming into a situation where China's booming, Europe appears to be stabilizing. I know that the plan is to kind of stay the course, but has the board made its priorities clear to Mark? Is there another area that you'd potentially like to see him focus a little bit more of his attention on once he takes the CEO job?
Well, Ruben, the world we live in changes every day, and what challenge we'll face tomorrow, we don't know. So one of the things that we want Mark to do is to continue with this culture of being able to adapt to anything, being nimble, quick, and transparent. And so, and I believe that he will do that. In addition, we do have plans to grow. We have plans to grow in Asia. We have plans to grow in the Middle East and Africa, which is a new business unit for us. We also are dealing with, one of the things that I've been spending a lot of time on is the notion of mobility in an ever more crowded world. How are we going to move people in cities which are already too congested as they get more populated? And those are the kind of things that I think the Ford Motor Company of tomorrow that you'll see us working on those kinds of issues.
Bill, thanks for being with us. That was Ford's Executive Chairman, Bill Ford, with us from Dearborn, Michigan. And checking on shares of Ford at last look, they were trading pretty much flat on the announcement. In New York, I'm Ruben Ramirez. Thanks for joining us.